Hello everyone and welcome to WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca for round 3 of season 3 of the Mumbai Falcons Indian Sim Racing League in association with Volkswagen Motorsport India. I'm Justin Prince, alongside me is my director for today in Salra as we get all set to go for the midway portion of season number 3. Before we begin, we'd like to remind you that this series is sponsored by the Mumbai Falcons Racing Limited, an Indian brand passionate about promoting motorsport in India. The series is also in association with Volkswagen Motorsport India. Volkswagen Motorsport launched the Polo Cup in 2010, marking their entrance in Indian motorsport. The aim was to provide a platform for young drivers to begin professional racing and to display their skills on the national level. Since then, they have produced many race drivers who have progressed to race internationally. The organization continues to groom budding racing talent into world-class drivers and recently won the Indian Touring Car Championship. After the pole, they went to the Vento Cup, then the Amio Cup, and now they're going back to the poles for next season. This season's championship battle is shaping up to be an interesting one so far, and in that, one driver has dominated much of the campaign early. Amit Kuti has swept the first 4 races in victories in the first 2 rounds, having a max points total of 206 points on the campaign so far. He's followed by Abdul Azim with 140 points. Sai Prithvi, the defending champion, only has 130 points after a rocky start to the campaign, including just 13 points in the second race in round number 2 at Daytona International Speedway. Abdul Kadib, I should rather say, had 115 points entering today, 104 as well for Yadel. That rounds out the top 5 in the standings entering today. Give a shout out as well to the driver in P6 in Pratamish Yadri, who in total has 99 points in the campaign, 40 of which came in the last race with a podium finish at Daytona in the second race after the top 12 invert. Now, today's race features the home site of the Season 2 finale, which seen some exciting fireworks and exciting battles between 2 of the championship favorites entering Season number 3, that being Prithvi along with Kuti. Today, we'll see these drivers attack an 11-turn, 2.238-mile circuit. That's 3.602 kilometers. 5.5 to the left, 4.5 to the right, and that, the corkscrew, is a quick left-right complex, which features a 59-foot, 18-meter drop. That is at 12 degrees, about 5.5 stories, in just the span of 450 feet in track length. Drivers will then make their way down the inversion to the rainy curb in turn 9, in a total of 10 stories of droppage, in just the span of a couple turns for today. It caught a lot of drivers off guard at the end of Season 2. A few drivers had off tracks and that section in practice, and we're about to see in a few moments how they handled the first race of 2 today for round 3 at the same track. Now, the practice pace for today ranged from the 115s at the top of the pylon to around the 117s at the end of the top 10. The fastest driver in practice was a different person. In fact, it's going to be one of the quickest drivers in qualifying. Mohammed Ibrahim put in a 1:15.855 in practice, bumping Sai Prithvi off the top of the pylon for the first time in a qualifying session or practice session. He is your pole sitter for the standing start in just a few moments. Prithvi in second position. Kuti starts in third, Azim in fourth, Kadib starts in the 5th position, Abdul Kadib. Raymond Summerwell starts in 6th with Abdul Rakib in 7th. Rounding up the top 8 starting positions, Oshan Potadia. Rounding up the top 10 positions are Ankit Tiaji along with Pratamish Yadri. Gupta starts 11th, Yadel starts in 12th, Abdul Hadi starts in 13th. In the 14th position, the number 1 machine of Kaushik Mohandrajan. A newcomer starts in the 15th position today for the standing start. That's the number 19, Avik Osh Anand. Rounding up the top 16, Najib Alamud along with Root, Duya Grover, alongside with the top 20 qualifiers in Cook Day. Rest of the drivers start on provisionals. 23 total competitors for today from WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Weather conditions for the start of the green flag: 79 degrees Fahrenheit, air temp 88 degrees, the track temp in sim time, just approaching 9 a.m. local time. Wind not a factor, just 2 miles an hour to the north, with humidity at 53% for today. All the drivers just about set to go racing for WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Waiting for the last of the cars to make their way to the grid before we get underway for the 5th total race of the campaign. The Andretti hairpin had fireworks the last time we were here at the end of Season 2. Will there be fireworks in the midway portion of Season 3? We're about to find out in just a second. All drivers are ready. Lights are waiting. Engines are revving. One driver jumps the start. We're off and away. And that's a penalty for Kuti. Jumped the start by a country mile to get by the 33. One driver off in the backdrop. Off into the sand trap is Summerwell from the 6th position. Everybody else, for the most part, got through cleanly. Already single file, a majority of the way to the field. First battle on the racetrack features the 2nd position, currently net 2nd. Azim and Prithvi still fighting hard. 57 cuts back to the inside. Heading towards sharp turn 6. Forced to check up as they go back down the Rahal straight for the first time. Everyone taking it nice and calm in the first lap, getting into a rhythm. 20 total minutes is the race distance. In total, that's an estimated 16 total laps to go when they get to the stripe. Kuti is serving the penalty for jumping the start by a good 3 seconds. That puts the 33 of Ibrahim specifically, up into the race lead by a good margin of more than 3 seconds. Scrapping for 2nd spot, still Azim's trying to hold on. Prithvi trying to find a way to poke around. Goes to the outside line of the Andretti hairpin. Goes off in the sand as he misses the corner. The 57 drops all the way back to P7. Azim now holds on to 2nd spot. Move Kadib up to the 3rd position. Taking a look at the pylon on your left side of your screen. As you can see already, the separation between 1st and 2nd already more than 5 seconds. Rest of the positions, though, are covered for the most part in gaps of about half a second to 7/10 of a second. Prithvi has now cycled to 7th position. Check that in 6th position after going off into the sand trap. Of course, the defending champion, his goal is to win the championship. He's having a disastrous run so far at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Once again, overruns the corner of the Rahal straight. The university student has 3 years of sim racing experience. Oh wow, the 33 lost a fair bit of time coming off the final corner. As you can see in turn 11, smoked the tires after going out around the rumble strips, spinning a full 360. Still has a 3.6 second gap. Despite that, had one of the fastest laps in the entire race. Just 3 minutes into the action, and what has been a wild one so far. One of the battles to keep an eye on is where this is at the moment. Prithvi trying to close in a gap of about a couple tenths of a second. The gap between him and Lama, the next position behind, is 0.8 of a second. The 3 years of sim racing experience, raced in real life for a year, as talked about in some of our broadcasts at the university collegiate level. Currently a university student at just the age of 20, and now is about to pick off P6. Side by side, Yadel ran the corner, moved Prithvi up into the 6th position. Approaching just 4 minutes into the action for those tuning in here. To refresh for those just tuning in, one of the top contenders of the season in Ahmed Kuti jumped the start, is all the way back in P17 on the racetrack. That is a good 50 plus seconds at least behind the current race leader, and Ibrahim is currently at the 4.4 second gap. Some of the air battles you see here, Hadi is currently in the mix of trying to keep up with some of the cars in front. Also trying to get by some lap traffic. The gap between him and the next position back in Prithvi is more than 2 seconds. After a disastrous start for the defending champion. Quarter of the way through race 1 for those tuning in. Brian still in the lead now by more than 5 seconds at the head of the field. Keeping up with this battle for 6th position, though. This is going to be one of the more intriguing ones. A lot of ups and downs this season for Prithvi. In the first race of the season, tire-to-tire contact, flipped upside down, recovered to a decent finish, was still able to gain, in total, 31 points in the first race. Then, crashed in the second race after contact with the lap car in the same section he had flipped upside down in the first race. Then at Daytona, had a strong run back and forth for the race win with Kuti. Then disaster struck when he had to use the tow truck and DNF'd in race 4. His worst points total earned in the past 3 to 5 rounds. Still keeping up inside this train, though, is Yadel, who has been having an impressive past couple of races. Still having to scrap along, though, with Lama, who is having his best run of the season so far. Had a disastrous season debut, but in the second race of the season, second round rather, had some good runs and now has contact. Well, there goes that. Still making contact, in fact, right now as they still try and get going. Bad luck that time for Lamas, already back down the running order by a decent margin. And Adele just got going. Prithvi is still in 7th position meanwhile. All while the race leader is setting the fastest laps by anyone in the past couple rounds at this track. 1:16.4s. Still making mistakes here and there, such as that. But Ibrahim has continued to be dominant from the jump of the green flag. Approaching halfway in just a few moments or so. Now taking a look at what's for 6th position. As you can see, has a decent cushion in front, but the cushion is gone for the top 5 spot for Hadi. Not as strong of a run down the Rahal straight this time. Inside the trap now is the 57. Much deeper braking for Prithvi. Still, the next passing zone is until the Andretti hairpin. Reaching as high as 125 miles an hour in the 160-170 kilometer range in some of these corners. Here comes the slipstream section of the racetrack, down the front straightaway, underneath the footbridge. Trying to angle his way on the outside. He tried it once before. Diamonds the corner this time. Gets a good run. Just can't get side by side with Hadi to make the move yet. Hadi, meanwhile, is taking a very defensive line. Not a good corner exit off 3. Side by side in turn 4. Hadi with the squeeze. Hadi in the sand. Off and away goes Prithvi to take away the top 5. Hadi did not want to give up that position, but now Prithvi has to try and close up 4 more seconds to the next car in front. And give a shout out to TNG, who is having a phenomenal round today. He is holding on to 4th position. Has no total scored points on the season, but is looking in shape to earn some today. Giving our shout out though to our debut driver. Started 15th with mid-pack in practice. Now is in the scrap though for the 8th position. This is once again Vikush Anand. Losing the 8th position there to Somerwell, who is recovering from his mistake on the opening lap, but is having a good run in the 117s to 120s time range. Adele, though, has had to use a tow truck, is now falling down the pylon at the moment. That's why you may have seen the scoring go up and down a bit. Remember, was involved in that contact before, has already had to use a second fast repair. In the past couple laps, is currently having to serve it in the pit lane. Just past halfway in race number 1 for today's coverage. The Mumbai Falcons Indian Sim Racing League in association with Volkswagen Motorsport India. For those tuning in, Ibrahim's been in dominant condition so far. Reaching lap traffic for the first time today. He'll have to deal with Alamed as well as Grover up in front of him. Very little mistakes so far for the young driver, 33. Remember, though, it was at this race at the end of last season where traffic came into major plays and determined some of the podium spots. Traffic, though, not as thick compared to that race that ended Season 2. Azim, meanwhile, is pulled away by about a second or two away from Kadib to hold on to second for now. Their pace is about identical, within a tenth or two each and every lap. Same can be said for the car in 4th place in the 46. However, Prithvi is one of the fastest drivers on the track right now, and this is similar to the last time this series was here. On the long run, had only had about 0.3 of a second fall off for much of that race. He is in that same ballpark right now, and is about 1/10 of a second quicker each lap than the race leader. However, due to the mistakes early on, 16 seconds back is the mark. This time by, remember, hit the sand, still had a 1:16.838. Trouble for Samuel and Root just now in the corkscrew. Both of them have now had to take a fast repair and/or tow truck after they had trouble in that section of the racetrack. Summerwell had his front suspension broken on the car. He's now in the pit lane, so is Cookday. Kuti, meanwhile, with all the mistakes for some of the drivers, is now in the 11th position. Had to serve a 38-second stop and go due to jumping the start. The 16-year-old student at the Don Bosco School of Excellence races in multiple different disciplines in sim racing and in different organizations, including the European Racing Series, in different series in India, part of the Indian racing community, in different games as well across sim racing. His goal as well, win a championship. These are the types of races today which can challenge a said champion, especially with others such as Kadib in a good spot to catch up in the standings. Remember, this 88 machine came in today 4th in the standings. Still needing to close up a few tenths of a second to get up to a few more spots. And meanwhile, following along with him. This is the battle now for 5th position on the racetrack. That's because the 57 in the past few laps has been able to get by these machines by a good 6 seconds after some of their scrapping and brawling. That was because the last time by, the 46 had a mistake out of the corkscrew, allowed Priyathiv on by. Hadi had to get off the gas, and now they lost a good 10 seconds total to the 57. Coming to an estimated 5 laps to go this time by. And still following along Hadi. DG still running a decent pace though, despite the mistake last time by. Ibrahim had a major mistake down the front straightaway and a bit of a technical issue. You see it a bit there. Losing a couple seconds to Azim as a result. He still ran the fastest lap last time by, but the gap is shrinking. Question's going to be, is there going to be enough time, or can they get enough luck to close on in? Gap is now 2.7-ish seconds, but keep in mind the battle could heat up still. Priyathiv is coming in quick. 1:17.707 last time by. That was the fastest on the racetrack. Kadib was 2 seconds slower, Azim 1 second slower. Ibrahim picked up the pace to get back to the 1:17.3s last time by as well. But it's still, this machine, that's the fastest. 6.8 seconds is the gap between him and the leader. Coming to 3 laps to go this time by. In the past 5 laps on average, Priyathiv has been closing a second a lap on Kadib's car, as well as another 1.1 seconds to Azim. You factor in from the drop of the green flag, Prithvi's average pace has also been half a second quicker than the 88 machine. Still, though, a lot of work to be put in to close in this gap in the final laps of this race. Position change for P5. Hadi has finally been able to get his way by Tiaji meanwhile. That was to the run after the corkscrew and through the rainy curve. So move Hadi up inside the top 5. And make the position go the other way again. As you see a slide in the sand trap for Hadi. Nearly making contact with the lap car, getting back on the racetrack. Loses some good second plus. Still able to keep on going, though. Might have enough time to catch up. We'll have to wait and see. The gap is now more than 2 seconds after that mistake. Red box no for the final podium position. Prithvi is closed on in within the slipstream of Kadib. Two are among just 8 drivers who have not had to come down for a penalty or a fast repair on the lead lap in this race. 2 laps to go this time by, under 2 minutes to go on the clock. Keep in mind, you see him up the road. Azim is also dropping back to both of these cars in the mix of this fight. The 88 just outside slipstream range down the straightaways. Kadib making his way through the infield section. This part of the track built in 1988. Originally, the track extended for the Andretti hairpin is all the way to here in turn 5 for a high-speed portion of the track to the mountainside. Now Priya V looks to try and attack in the mountainside, the second half of the racetrack. Tough exit going through the Rahal Straight. Spin Priya V's most confident section. Late braking going into the corkscrew, sticking it with just a little bit of squealing. Coming to the white flag this time by Hadi and Al-Ahmed have made contact. Hadi has now had to pull in for a fast repair. Coming to the final estimated lap of the race, under 30 seconds on the clock. Kadib goes to block. Priya V tries to go on the high side. He's trying to make this work on the Andretti hairpin multiple times. This time gets cut off. Tries to diamond it off the corner. Last time, it was a defensive move in turn 4 that eventually seen him make the move. Kadib nearly makes the same mistake in the last pass for position for Priya V. Kadib tried to hold on to a podium position. Priya V's just keeping within slipstream range. They'll have to deal with a car rejoining in front as well when they go through the corkscrew. Cook Day went off the circuit. The leader in Ibrahim, in clean space, does not have to worry about the traffic. Priya V has one last shot to try and make a move, if any, on the back end of Kadib. But out of the final corners, the youngster, Mohammed Ibrahim, will win his first race of the Season 3 campaign for the Mumbai Falcons Indian Sim Racing League in association with Volkswagen Motorsport India. All with Priya V has ripped away the third step on the podium in the final corner. Rounding out the top 5, Tia G. Azim came home in second. Kadib still came home in fourth after the late send by Priya V on the outside line. And the newcomer, Aned, coming home to the final corners. He and Root looking to secure 6th and 7th. Just about to do it. Root had some mistakes in this race, had a bit of contact. You see a little bit of the contact on that right part of the wing. Still comes home and P number 7, but what a recovery from the penalty from Kuti. Coming home in P number 8 to round out the drivers of the lead lap. Cook Day in 9th, rounding out the top 10. Hadi, who had to use a fast repair and didn't get back on the racetrack in time to take the checkered flag under his own power. Lama, Yadri, Rakib, Summerwell, Grover to the top 15. Yadel finished the drivers on the track in 16th. Al-Ahmed in 17th. Alhandraja in 17th. In 18th position, Dudia. 19th position for him, but Kosik in 20th. Rounding out the drivers who finished today's race, Kududia, along with Fatah. In the 22 cars who took the grid, Gupta did not make it to the start. What an entertaining race. We'll see if we can get a word in effect right now with one of the drivers we've talked about in the championship hunt. His worst finish of the season after winning 4 straight races. Amit Kuti joins us in the broadcast booth. Amit, do you have us? Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us here in the broadcast booth. Your 8th place finish. Talk us through what happened, though, at the start. Good 3 seconds before the rest of the field, you win, heading to the green lights.
Yeah, so I was just I was just waiting for the lights. I didn't realize that the first lights were red. So as soon as the lights came on, I just reacted to it and pressed my paddle. It was just a silly mistake. Yeah.
After what happened there, how did you get yourself mentally focused to try and recover as many positions as possible?
I was pretty pissed off what I did, but still, I just kept my head down. I tried not to lose much time and went into the pits and served my penalty and got back into it. Because I knew that the second race there would be a reverse grid, so if I had come back into the top 12, it should have been an advantage in the second race.
Yeah, you get good track position, in fact, now with that in the second race. What do you expect us to see for that second race?
So I think I'm starting fourth or fifth. I don't want to get any damage. If I get through clean, I may have a shot at the victory if all things go as planned.
Is there anyone you want to thank for being a part of your run before we let you focus on the second race?
Yeah, I'd like to thank all of the guys at IR Esports for giving this opportunity to race.
Thank you very much for the time. Congrats on the top 8.
Yep, thanks.
Amit Kuti coming home in P8 in the first race of this action. See if we can also tackle with the top 5 runner once more of Ankit Tianji. Joins us out in the broadcast booth. Do you have us? Ankit, do you hear us? Try this one more time. Ankit Tianji, do you have a copy, sir? Appears we do not have a copy indeed, unfortunately, there. But with that, the driver's now getting ready for race number 2 of today's action. Stick around. You're watching the Mumbai Falcons Indian Sim Racing League in association with Volkswagen Motorsport India. Stick around for race number 2.